Welcome to Twin Lakes Worship Center. Today, I want to speak to you on celebrating our dependence. Now, we've just celebrated our independence, and I want to share with you today the difference between the two and how important it is. Not that we have independence, but that we have dependence. So you stay tuned, and may God bless you.
And if you have your Bibles, I'd like for you to be turning to the book of Matthew in chapter number 11. Matthew chapter number 11. I want to speak to you today on the subject of celebrating our dependence. Not independence. We celebrated that yesterday. And what a great day yesterday was. How awesome it is to know that we're living in a country that we have celebrated our independence, that we got that freedom that we wanted, that we now live in the greatest free nation in the world. Yes, we have lots of problems. Yes, we have lots of issues. Yes, there's lots of things going around in our country that some agree with, some don't agree with. But the fact still remains, we do still live in the greatest free nation on the earth right now. And we can celebrate that independence because we are free. You know, it's amazing as we go through life how quickly we want to be independent. It's amazing. You watch little babies, as quick as they're old enough to begin to crawl and walk, they want to start doing it on their own, don't they? And then you see those little kids grow up into elementary age kids, and they want to go do this or that by themselves. And then they turn into preteens and teens, and God only knows what's going through their mind. But we all, even how young or how old we all have that sense of wanting to be independent. It's just something in us. I can remember growing up at home, me wanting the same way. And me telling my dad, finally, I was, 18, 19 years old, Dad, just letting you know I'm moving out. He said, oh, you are? And I said, yep, I'm going to be independent. I was tired of him telling me what time to come home. Actually, I was tired of getting locked out. See, that's the way they did it back in the 80s. You be home at 11 or you ain't coming home. So he said, so you're going to move out? And I said, yeah. And he said, why? And I said, I want to be independent. And he said, okay, but before you go, let me tell you this. You're never going to have a better deal than you've got right now. You've got a roof over your head. You got food in the refrigerator. You don't have to pay for any of the bills. Your clothes are washed. When you leave, it ain't going to be that way. Now, I know what I'm doing, Dad. Moved out. Found out different. Now he won't let me go back. I've been trying to go back for 30 years, and he won't let me. We want that independence. But let me tell you, one of the greatest things that can ever happen to you in your life is not when you reach that point of being independent, but when you reach that point of maturity that you realize you can be dependent upon God. You see, independency is really an illusion. If you think you're living your life independently, you're living under an illusion. Because here's the fact. You cannot take your next breath unless God preordains you to do so. The illusion of independency, it's an illusion. You cannot do anything apart from God giving you the ability or the strength to do it. So what we need to learn is rather than celebrating our independence, we need to learn to celebrate our dependence upon God. Boy, we live in a stressful world, don't we? How many of you, when I say, boy, life is stressful, how many of you know what I'm talking about? How many of you know what stressful living is about? We live in a life filled with stress. Life is hard. I mean, it starts out from in school. Now, some of you, school may have been easy for you, but let me tell you, it was hard for Mo. It was hard for Mo. Life is stressful. School is hard. And then you get out of school and you get a job, and then you find out that money don't go near as far as you thought it would. And then you go through all the dating stuff and the relationships, and then not long before you get dumb enough that you're going to get married. I had a girl the other day tell me, I can't wait to get married. And I said, why? And she said, so when I get married, life will just, all my problems will go away. Y'all did exactly what I did. I had to apologize. I laughed in her face. Marriage is hard, amen? You've got two different creatures trying to live together in one way. And guys, you know which way that's going. Her way. Marriage is hard. It's stressful. You got the stress of finances. And then you finally get old enough. The golden years. You find out that this old body ain't what it used to be. I think my mom and dad have lied to me. I think I'm really 65 years old. Everybody says, oh, you're having that much trouble at 45, wait till you're 65. Listen, I ain't going to make it to 65 if this is any indication. Then you have the stress of your body breaking down. All the problems that come with that. And somewhere along the line, you thought what would make your life complete was to have a kid. You throw in all the stresses of your body, all the stresses of finances, all the stresses of marriage, all the stresses of a career and a job and people and family and in-laws and outlaws, and then you throw a kid in there, listen, that just tops it off right there. You're absolutely walking around insane because of stress. Let me tell you, there is only one way. Did you know they're saying stress is killing more of us now than anything? Did you know that? That's a proven study. Now, I don't know who they were and where they went. I guess they polled pastors. I don't know. Stress is killing more people than anything in the world right now. How do we live with all this stress? I want you to look with me in Matthew chapter 11, and I'm going to tell you the whole key is learning to celebrate your dependence. Look what Jesus said, Matthew 11 and verse 28. He says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Boy, don't that sound good? Don't that sound wonderful? All of the hustle and the bustle and the stress and the anxiety and the problems and the hurts and the aches and the pains and all the stuff we go through in life, Jesus said, hey, if you want some rest. And what I like about it is he was talking to me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, those of you that feel like, man, I don't know if I can make it one more day. Those that feel like, I don't know if I can get through another week. Those that are saying, if this year's like last year, I'm not going to survive. Jesus said, hey, I want your attention. This is for you. Come to me. Come to me. And I will give you rest. Let me tell you why stress is killing us. Because we're still trying to be independent. Well, if I can just get a few weeks off toward the end of the year. Tell you what I've learned, vacation don't take care of stress. What I've learned is we're trying to be independent. Well, if I can just get that promotion, get a little more money in my pocket, Deucey, I'll be all right then. Money don't fix stress. Well, if I can just get out of the situation I'm in right now, get rid of him and marry him. Boy, you be careful what you ask for. If I can just get myself in a position of life where this changes or that changes or change this or change that or fix this or fix that, then I'll be able to breathe. That's why stress is killing us. Because we're still trying to treat stress independently. we think we know what we need. People ask me, Brother Jeremy, what do you need? Heck if I know. Ask him. I ain't smart enough to even know what I need. But we're trying to treat the number one killer in America without seeing the great physician. If you had cancer, would you go home, start mixing up chemicals, and get an IV ready? Well, let me tell you something that's killing more of us than cancer. It's stress. And we're trying to treat it by home medications. Jesus said, for all of you that are stressed out, you labor and you're heavy laden, you feel like you can't go on, come unto me. Now, you know what Jesus was really saying? He said, number one, take the emphasis off yourself and put it on me. In other words, become dependent upon me. Realize that I and I alone am your answer. I'm your answer. And he said, come unto me, and I will give you rest for your souls. You know, there's a big difference. I used to tease my dad all the time. I was working construction as a welder, manly man's job, you know. Come home smelling like smoke and dirt, and you know. Dad come in from a revival wearing suit and tie. You know, if the thermostat got stuck, he might have had a little sweat under each armpit. Oh, I'm tired. And I said, Dad, if you had a real job, you would know what being tired is. God's got a sense of humor. God's got a sense of humor. Because I don't believe God had no intentions of making me a preacher until I opened my big mouth. You can rest from digging a ditch. You can rest from a sales meeting at the office. But when you got stress, you can't even go to sleep and get away from it. So how do we do it? What do we do? Jesus said, depend on me. Come unto me. You see, well, here's what I know. I know that at least 50% of you in this room today, 50% watching by television today, 50% of us are stressed out. You know how I know? Because you're a human. And the only way we're going to survive this stress is to listen to what the great physician said. And he said, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. We need to celebrate the dependency we have in Christ. In other words, you need to take that marriage. You need to take those finances. You need to take that health issue. You need to take whatever it is to God and lay it at His feet and say, Lord, I can't deal with this. You created me, and you did not create me to handle or deal with this kind of stress. Here it is. Now that's the easy part. That's the easy part. We all do that. Oh, Lord, fix my heathen husband. You get up off your knees, and then you say, what do I need to tell him today? How do I fix him now? How am I going to work out these finances? How am I going to see to it I get that promotion? How am I? God says, go ahead. When you're done trying, come unto me. Come unto me. You see, the easy part's taking it to Him. The hard part's walking away from it. That's called faith. That's called faith. I have faith that if I lay this at your feet, you will fix it. Jesus said, if you're stressed out, bring that which is stressing you out to me. Come unto me. And I, in return, will give you rest. So, we're living in a stress-filled world, and the only way we can get out of it is learn to celebrate our dependency. We also are living in a miserable world. Did you know, I don't know how to say this and it sounds nice on Sunday morning. But about half the people I meet are just miserable people. Did you know that? Now, you can't tell it in here on Sunday morning because we're all smiling and we actually put deodorant on and took a shower and made sure the clothes wasn't wrinkled so bad that, we looked like vagrants. But the truth of the matter is a large majority of people living right this moment, they're miserable. They're miserable about where they've ended up in life. They're miserable about what they have accomplished or haven't accomplished. They're miserable about what happened to them in their past. They're miserable about what decisions they've made, their failures, their successes. Miserable about something. And the problem is when we become miserable about whatever it may be. It may be something that was not of your fault, none of your doing, or it could have been exactly because of you. Whatever the reason, what happens if we don't find the key to dealing with this misery? What happens is we begin to become discontent. And when we become discontent, what happens is we begin searching for something to make us feel alive. To make us feel maybe like we used to. To make us feel as though there's something good in our life. And when we begin searching for those things, herein lies where misery is compounded with misery. This is where we see people making poor decisions and they turn to drugs. And for a short while, they take that drug. I'm going to tell it like it is this morning. For a short while, they take that drug and that's what I've been looking for. I feel alive. I feel happy. I feel that things are better. But then it's not long before the drug starts taking them. And their life starts slowly slipping away. We see people turn to alcohol, and for a moment they can take that alcohol and they feel as though everything's okay, and I feel alive again, and I don't feel that misery and that pain and that discontent. But then it's not long that every drop they drink, it's like drinking salt water. The more they drink, the more it requires. It's not long before others begin to choose promiscuous relationships and they turn to all different things of the world, whatever it might be, just trying to find something to alleviate that pain and misery and feel happy. Listen to what Jesus said, verse 29. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Do you hear what Jesus said? Those of you that are in bondage of the yoke. Now, we may not look at that yoke as something that has something in bondage, but go ask the ox wearing it. You see, when that ox puts on that yoke, he's going to do whatever the master is that drives it. And the sad fact of the matter is that a large majority of people living in this world today, they have some kind of yoke around their neck, whether it be drug addiction, alcoholism, pornography, relationships, whatever it might be. They've got that yoke. And that's what's driving them. And because of it, they're miserable. I like the little story, and I probably told it 1,000 times. I'm old enough now, I don't remember what I've told and what I hadn't. So y'all just act like I never told it. The king that was miserable and unhappy, and he had everything the world had to offer, and he called in a servant, and he said, I want you to go out into my kingdom and find the happiest man in my kingdom, and I want you to take the shirt off his back and bring it to me that I might wear it and be happy too. Weeks went by. The servant showed back up trembling. The king went in and said, where's the shirt? And he said, I don't have a shirt. And he said, you mean you didn't find the happiest man in my kingdom? And he said, yes, I did. And he said, then where's the shirt? And he said he didn't own one. You see, a lot of us are miserable because we're yoking ourselves up to the things of this world, thinking it's going to bring us satisfaction and happiness, and it won't. Jesus said, learn of me. Become dependent upon me and my ways. Learn of me. He didn't just say, hey, learn who I am. He said, learn of me. That meant my ways, how I think, what I do, how I deal with things. Learn of me. And it'll bring you contentment to your soul. You see, we try so hard to be independent when the truth of the matter is the only way we can have rest and joy and peace is to be dependent. To be dependent. Dependent upon Christ. And He will bring you what you need.
Thank you for staying tuned, and I hope God has spoke to your heart today, and you realize how important it is that we have that dependency upon God and that He meet our needs. As always, I want to invite you to come worship with us at Twin Lakes Worship Center. Our services are at 10 o'clock on Sunday, 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. We'd love to see you. God bless you, and you have a great week.